Om. 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 ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये.
Hey, Gurudev. So yesterday we did the 70th verse twice over. It was giving Arjuna the Sthita state from a different standpoint. Apuryamana machalaf pratishtam samudramapah pravishanti yadvat tadvat kamayam pravishanti sarve sashanti mapnoti nakama kami. So just as the fullness of the ocean is not affected by the entry or non-entry of water, so too the wise person's mind, wise person's peace of mind is not affected by objects that enter the mind. These objects enter into such a person just as water enters the ocean. But he or she is not affected by them because, like the ocean, the wise person is full for no other reason than fullness being his or her own nature. So I just want to read this one more time here. Everyone has this sense of fullness, if only for the time being, when something desirable happens. So most of us momentarily have that experience, that fullness, when what we desire, we achieve or we get. So that moment of joy, that fullness that we experience is momentary, but eventually the person finds himself or herself not full. Then again, that I want starts. A wise person, on the other hand, does not depend on anything for his or her fullness because the self is already full, like the ocean. The self is Ananda, it has no limit. Thus, recognition of the self is the very reason for the person's being full. I am is fullness. I am fullness. If I am fullness, then the meaning of the word I is not found in a limited factor like the body, mind, or senses. But when we, the unwise people, or the otherwise people, say, I am fullness, when momentarily we have that sense of fullness, it is we are identifying ourselves with the body, mind, intellect, or the ego. But whereas the wise person identifies that with the big I. So the I for him is not found in a limited factor like the body, mind, or senses. Therefore, the I should be understood as it is, and it happens to be Ananda. The wise person is one who is happy without depending upon any object or situation. Like the ocean, he or she is full by his or her own glory, by his or her own nature. The fullness of a wise person, the ananda of the person, is not going to increase because of the entry of some desirable objects. And if such desirable objects do not enter, the wise person does not lose anything. In either case, no change is brought about in the person, he or she remains unchanged. If desirable objects enter into the head of a person who is not full, they create havoc in the person because they have to be gained, experienced, or owned, and there may be no way of doing so. Therefore, the person smarts, sweats, frets, and fumes. When a person looks upon himself or herself as one who is lacking, desires only cause problems. And if such a person is told to give up all desires, he or she cannot do it. Unless one is full, desires cannot be given up. They go away only when the person is full. Even if desires do enter the head of a wise person, they do not create any problems because whether the desires are fulfilled or not, it is all the same to the person. The demise of the emotional yo yo, of one's emotional yo yo. The word kama in this verse is taken to mean objects. Kamyate iti kamaha. They are desired and therefore called kamas. If a person does not know that he or she is ananda, the person is elated when desirable objects enter and dejected when undesirable objects enter. Whereas for the wise person, there is no difference. He or she is Shanti alone, meaning that there is no change in the person whatsoever. The emotional yo yo is no longer there for him or her. There may be a ripple of laughter or even roaring laughter sometimes, just as the ocean seems to be very ecstatic at certain times and simply smiling at other times. There can be a smile, a laugh, or tranquility. For the ocean, the small waves are its smiles, and the huge breakers are its roaring laughter. Breakers here are the waves. Huge waves are like roaring laughter. If it is not roaring with laughter or smiling, is the ocean gone? No, it is tranquil in its fullness. Therefore, it is the fullness that is laughing, the fullness already being there. It can be a laughing fullness, a smiling fullness, or a tranquil fullness. The other person mentioned in this verse, the Kama Kami, is one who has desires. This is not to say that he or she has a desire for desires. No one wants to have a desire for desires, but this person definitely has desire for desirable objects. Into this person's mind also, sense objects enter, the world enters. When the desirable enters, there is elation. And when the undesirable enters, there is depression. In this way, the emotions of the person go up and down like a yo yo. If a wise person can be likened to an ocean, the otherwise can certainly be likened to a miserable pond that we just saw in the example. When the rains come, there will be water. Provided there is not too much water or too little, the pond will remain. But if it is flooded or all its water dries up, the pond is gone. Similarly, for one who has binding desires, the entry and non entry of desirable and undesirable objects bring about changes, which is not the case for the wise person. This verse then gave Arjuna some hope. The previous verse was a real description of a wise person in the sense that it takes wisdom for you to be wise, and therefore you had better gain this wisdom. This was then followed by the illustration in the present verse, which likened the wise person to an ocean. Let all the desirable and undesirable objects enter, like so much water into the ocean. The wise person remains full, and the kami does not. Krishna was telling Arjuna here that the one who has binding desires will always have problems, and that by this illustration, Arjuna would know what a wise man is like. Having said this, Krishna then summed up the section on the Sthita Prajna as well as the entire chapter in the next two verses. विहाय कामान्यः सर्वान् पुमांश्चरति निःस्पृहः निर्ममो निरहङ्कारः स शान्तिमधिगच्छति. Yaha, the one who, Puman, person, Sarvan, all, Kaman, binding desires, Vihaya, having given up, Nisprihaha, devoid of longing, Nirmamaha, without the sense of mind, Nirahankaraha, without the sense of limited I, Charati, moves around, Saha, he, Shantim, peace, Adhigachati, gains. Yaha puman sarvan kaman vihaya nisprihaha nirmamaha nirahankaraha charati saha shantim adhigachati. Having given up all binding desires, the person who moves around devoid of longing, without the sense of limited I and mine, gains peace. I will repeat this meaning again. Having given up all binding desires, the person who moves around, devoid of longing, without the sense of limited I and mine, gains peace. The wise person is one who has given up all binding desires and who moves freely in the world. Whether the person is a king like Janaka or a sannyasi like Shankara, there is no difference in the freedom of the person. The longing for this or that is gone because the person is happy with himself or herself. There is no more longing for situations in order to be secure or happy. Therefore, the sense of mine is no longer there. Such a person does not have this kind of attachment to anyone or anything. People hold on to certain people and certain objects and look upon them as mine. They are like children who say, "Do not touch this. Do not take it away from me. This is my toy." The only difference between the mind we had as children and the mind we have as adults is that the toys have been replaced with other, more sophisticated objects. In fact, we are nothing but bearded, grown up children. The mind nest never goes, only objects are replaced. Thus, with reference to a few things and people, we say, "This is mine." There is no I or mine. However, when I see the whole thing, everything is myself alone, everything changes. I am the father, the mother, and all the places. When everything is myself, there is no mine. Mine means that yours, his, and hers are also there. These are the reasons for all your problems. You become small in your own eyes. When I and mine are no longer there, because you know I am all of this, you are wise. When you say I am all of this, the sense of mine is gone. The I sense is also gone because when everything is me, there is no I. People think this is vanity, but vanity only exists when you are small. When you say, I am everything, there is no vanity. Vanity is only with reference to comparison and pride. When you take yourself to be this much, there is quantifying in terms of your possessions, your capacity, your skills, and so on. Then there is ahankara, ego. But when the ego is bloated to such an extent that I am everything, there is no ahankara at all. There is only reality, knowledge, Brahman. Ahankara is nothing but a notion, the I notion. When the reality is I am everything, there is no ego. Ego is only when you compare yourself with another person and say, he does not have as much as I have, is ego. But there is no other person at all. All that is there is me. There is no ego, no doer. There is only aham, I. That I am a doer is a notion, whereas I is the self. Therefore, the person under discussion in this verse is one who has no I or mine sense because everything is himself or herself. If everything is oneself, where is the question of having a desire? Knowing this, then, the wise person has no binding desires. So we hold on to the child. We only become, we only grow old, but that mineness and I-ness that we have with respect to objects and things in the world, objects, relationships, anything, even fame, name, position, all this become like an object to hold on to. But when we expand this I, this limited I, to include everything and everyone, then there is no ahankara at all because everything is I. And when there is no ahankara, there is no desire because what would you desire if you are everything? You are full already. So, although the wise person seemingly has desires, they are non binding desires. How a wise person lives in the world. The use of the word charati here is very beautiful. The wise person does not run away from the world. Where would he or she go anyway? Having given up all binding desires, Such a person continues to live in the world and may engage himself or herself in a variety of activities. But the activity itself means nothing. The person gains only shanti, meaning that he or she never changes. Other people move around because of the pressure of their desires, whereas the wise person is free from such binding, pressurizing desires. People who are impelled by desires will say, "This has to be done. Only then can I be happy." The only difference between a wise person and these people is that the wise person is motivated but not driven by his or her desires. In spite of moving around and being active in the world, there is no appreciable inner change brought about in the person either by desire or by its outcome. When the world enters into the sthita prajna, the person is shanta. And when he or she enters into the world, engaging in the activities of the world, then also there is nothing but shanti. This was said because of a doubt that can arise here. It is fine to say that the sthita prajna is full, and when the world enters into such a person, it merely resolves into his or her fullness. He or she just sits in one place in this fullness, and whatever world enters into the person, Shanti alone prevails. What about the wise person who is active? Activity does not change the person's wisdom. There is no change because there is no doership or enjoyership, no I notion in the person. Shanti alone remains. Let the person be engaged in the world, or let the world enter into the person. Either way, it is the same. Whether he or she is enjoying or doing, there is Shanti. When the world enters into the person, or the person does something, he or she does not become an enjoyer or a doer. Enjoyership and doership are both negated in the wise person. Although there is a seeming enjoyership and doership, essentially they are not there. This is what we call badita, meaning that through knowledge, the reality of doership and enjoyership centered on I is sublated. When Krishna talked to Arjuna and when Shankara wrote his commentaries, there was doership. But neither Krishna nor Shankara looked upon themselves as the doer. Doership for the wise person is just doing. The notion, I am the doer, is not there. This means that the Sthita Prajna continues to be Brahman. Therefore, Krishna concluded, Esha Brahmi Sthitif Partha Nainam Prapya Vimuhyati Sthitva Syamantakaalepi Brahma Nirvana Mrichati. Partha, O son of Pritha Arjuna, Esha, this, Brahmi Sthitihi, the state of being in Brahman, Enam, this, Prapya, having gained, Navimuhyati, is not deluded, Antakale, at the end of life, Api, even, Asyam, therein, Stitva, remaining, Brahma Nirvanam, liberation, Richati, gains. Partha एषा ब्राह्मी स्थितिः एनां प्राप्य न विमुह्यति अन्तकाले अपि अस्यां स्थित्वा ब्रह्मनिर्वाणं रिच्छति. This is what is meant by being steady in Brahman, O Partha. Having gained this, one is not deluded. Remaining therein, even at the end of one's life, one gains liberation. The steady knowledge, jnana nishtha, that has been the topic of Krishna's teaching from the beginning is steadfastness in Brahman, Brahmanishta. In between, Karma Yoga was pointed out, and Arjuna's question concerning the definition of a Sthita Prajna was answered, the same steady wisdom being again mentioned. Jnana Nishta means steady knowledge, and Brahmanishta is one whose knowledge is that Atma is Brahman. It is this knowledge called Brahmanishta that is being praised here in the last verse of the second chapter. So we'll park it here. The further description is all about what is this sthiti, what is this steadfastness, but what is the nature of the wise person? Vihaya kamanya sarvan pumamscharati nisprihaha nirmamo nirahankaraha sashantimadi gacchati. I think we will share from whatever we've understood, and if we require another reading, we'll do another reading.
The whole gist of second chapter is written in this last but one, that Vihaya Kaman. Without the desires and without the longing, that is craving for anything, because everything is He. He is rooted into the knowledge. He is Brahman, and everything, He is everything. Means everyone is, He includes everything in Him. So there is no ahankara and there is no mamakara also. Nirmama nirahankara. These two are very, very deep meaning, because once you reach that state wherein there is no desires and there is no longing, that's nispraha for anything, and even if he does it, the doership doesn't stick to him. It doesn't baditha, it doesn't bother him. So the whole gist of the chapter second is given in this. I think that's a wonderful, everything crystal clear, who is Brahman, who has reached that state. Sthita Prajna. His Prajna, his consciousness is very steadfast, rooted in Brahman. Nothing sticks to him. He doesn't need anything. If he does, and he doesn't claim that he has done it. So wonderful. Just a gist. Thank you. Very nicely it is explained.
So I'll actually read this one more time. So having given up, yeah.
Oh, sorry. Isn't we own the things, objects, and people like that? That's mine, and that is the sorry. State to go to the inside, means towards the self recognition. This is the big obstacle in our journey.
From
Come again.
day, what she says is day in and day out. We just say it is mine, my daughter, my son, my wife, my house, my. That mamakara is always there. So how to get out of that? That is what is the main. But once you reach that state, there is no mind.
And today, when you were reading, it was touched so much how much we are just means we are so much bounded. We are not feeling free because of only this I thing or mind thing.
See, that is what China had mentioned. When a child is born and we are exposing the child to the world and teaching the child. If you give the child a toy, naturally the child, or a bicycle, for instance, a young boy is given a bicycle, their natural tendency is to share what they have. But then we tell them, this is your bicycle. Do not give it to anyone. Some parents might say this, not everyone again. So do not give. So therefore, we're instilling that sense of mindness, and then I only should enjoy it. Also, when we say drink your milk, we bring in that your mind, I, those concepts are being fed right from the childhood. It's not drink milk. We never say drink milk. We don't say eat breakfast. We say eat your breakfast. So this mindset that we have right from the childhood, that if we are aware of, that is fine. But otherwise, again, when we give pocket money to children, so this is your pocket money. That is why Gurudev says, do not have this pocket money business should be stopped. Because children, they hold on to that pocket money, and when they actually grow up, they become so self-centered that they do not want to share what they have with others. So there is this sense of possessing. This is mine, and I will, only I will have to, I will eat, I will enjoy it. So the
On
way
their
the
own, these
parent also has
things,
to change. Huh?
sorry, on their own, things does not have that value which we give and we get bonded to it. Means we get attached to the things so much. Means money is money. Gurudev says, keep it in pocket, not in your head." Same way, things are things, but we carry it everywhere with tag my.
See, again, going back to the 67th verse or 62nd verse, Dhyayato Vishayan Pumsaha. So the objects enter into our head and they remain there. And it becomes even worse when your friend or someone else or your neighbor has it. Then there is comparison. You said you want, the thought comes, yes, I want to possess it. I want to have it also. You may not have a need at all for it, but just that want, that constant remembering of that object kicks up a desire for it, desire to possess it. And that occupies your whole mind space. When you compare this with a person who's wise, a Sthita Prajna, first of all, is full, is Shanti, has peace of mind, is like the fullness of the ocean. So whether or not therefore, desires do not actually erupt in him. But even if there is a desire, it does not shake his peace of mind. Whereas the other person, unless he gets that desire fulfilled, he will be restless. And if there is any obstruction in his attaining of that desire, he becomes so frustrated, and that downfall, that negative spiral happens. Dhyayato vishayan pumsaha sangasteshu pajayate sangat sanjayate kamaha kamat krodho vijayate क्रोधात् भवति सम्मोहः सम्मोहात् स्मृतिविभ्रमः स्मृतिभ्रंशात् बुद्धिनाशः बुद्धिनाशात् प्रणश्यति. So this negative spiral happens to a person who has this I-ness, minus. Whereas the wise person, Sthita Prajna, is unaffected. There is no yo-yo for him. He is Shanti. Whether what he desires comes or whether what he desires does not come, he remains. Therefore, whether the world enters into him or he enters into the world, he moves around with that freedom. Whether he's King Janaka or he's Shankara as a sannyasi. So with or without, they're in that constant state of ananda, constant state of wow. Whereas for the rest of us, we will feel secure, we will feel happy only if that if big if is there, if this happens or when this happens.
Also, the cravings. I was just reading one of the shloka of Kathopanishad. So in that there was mentioned the 4 types of cravings, that ishnas, the putreshnas, for the children, you have that craving, that that moha basically, putreshna, then viteshna for the money, and then lokeshna for your reputation, recognition, fame, etc. And then jiveshna, you want to live forever. So these 4 ishnas, they are the like a wall between you and yourself, your true self. So everything is related. Reading that, I found that everything is related, that how at every step you all these ishnas, they distance you from your own self, that's inner self. And it was that which Nachiketa was asking questions, and Yama was explaining. So it was I was just relating it to our own class which is going on, so I just shared that. And in that basic happiness point also came in between, that you don't become the football of others' opinion, because we usually are also, like we are bothered about what people will think, what would they think about me, whether I am good or I am hopeless. I'm like, you go into that self-judging also. So in that way also, that frustration which is happening, it again brings out that misery, pain. So misery, pain comes only when you are away from yourself, and causes are all around you in different forms, like your fame, then your family, then your own insecurity of your life. Like people have some people they are insecure regarding their own life. What will happen if my children are not looking after me, or if suppose I get some disease, like COVID was going on, that everybody was insecure. So
again, like each thing was related to these four Ishnas, and the life is revolving around them, all the Ishnas. Yeah, thank you.
So beautifully explained, Avitaji. Very true. So these Ashanas and all this limited, the more we are attached to the body, mind, and senses, the more we feel limited, the more we are sucked up into the samsara. We are kind of rooted in samsara. So coming out of this is that initially we learned about the path, going against. That is the first step, going towards the self. It's like the river not flowing down the mountain. That is like getting into samsara, what everybody else is doing. But you're taking it's like the river going up the mountain. That mumukshutvam. Who am I? What am I? Moving towards self-knowledge. Wanting to be free from all of this. These are shackles. They limit our freedom. But the actual truth is that you are free. We are only bound by these mental misidentification that we have. So I will read this one more time. The wise person is one who has, so having given up all binding desires, the person who moves around, devoid of longing, without the sense of limited I and mine, gains peace. The wise person is one who has given up all binding desires and who moves freely in the world. Whether the person is a king like Janaka or a sannyasi like Shankara, there is no difference in the freedom of the person. The longing for this or that is gone because the person is happy with himself or herself. There is no more longing for situations in order to be secure and happy. Therefore, the sense of mine is no longer there. Such a person does not have this kind of attachment to anyone or anything. People hold on to certain people and look upon them as mine. They are like children who say, "Do not touch this. Do not take it away from me. This is my toy." The only difference between the mine we had as children and the mine we have as adults is that the toys have been replaced with other, more sophisticated objects. In fact, we are nothing but bearded, grown up children. The mindness never goes, only objects are replaced. Thus, with reference to a few things and people, we say, "This is mine." There is no I or mine. However, when I see that the whole thing, everything is myself alone, everything changes. I am the father, the mother, and all the places. When everything is myself, there is no mine. Mine means that yours, his, and hers are also there. These are the reasons for all your problems. You become small in your own eyes. When I and mine are no longer there, because you know I am all of this, you are wise. When you say I am all of this, the sense of mine is gone. The I sense is also gone because When everything is me, there is no I. People think this is vanity, but vanity only exists when you are small. When you say, I am everything, there is no vanity. Vanity is only with reference to comparison and pride. When you take yourself to be this much, there is quantifying in terms of your possessions, your capacity, your skills, and so on. Then there is ahankara, ego. But when the ego is bloated to such an extent that I am everything, there is no ahankara at all. There is only reality, knowledge, Brahman. Ahankara is nothing but a notion, the I notion. When the reality is I am everything, there is no ego. Ego is only when you compare yourself with another person and say, he does not have as much as I have, is ego. But there is no other person at all. All that is there is me. There is no ego, no doer. There is only aham, I. That I am a doer is a notion, whereas I is the self. Therefore, the person under discussion in this verse is one who has no I or mine. I or mine sense, because everything is himself or herself. If everything is oneself, where is the question of having a desire? Knowing this, then, the wise person has no binding desires.
The non-duality has been emphasized here, no? How this chapter from duality to non-duality, the whole
From the
set up
beginning,
that,
that's what Krishna
yeah,
has been talking to him, no?
yeah, this whole
Ashocyan
chapter,
anvashochastvam prajna vadamscha bhasha. That was the beginning of the second chapter where he
second
started giving
chapter,
knowledge, right? He says, you are
right?
grieving for something that is not to be grieved. Because Arjuna had this strong sense of mindness and I-ness, he was able to say, these are my people. I'm going to kill them. But that is where Krishna starts off the teaching. And he says,
Yeah.
you're grieving for something that is not to be grieved. But yet stand up and do your duty, is what he tells him.
So beautifully it's connecting from the first and this last shloka. Very nice.
So it is very easy for us to be carried away, like Arjuna got carried away, saying, oh, come on, you're saying this is what when everything is only one and there are no desires, which is why the next chapter starts off with Arjuna asking the question, why are you asking me to do karma? We, of course, have to do karma till we attain that state of Brahman, or we realize that we are Brahman. Till that time, there is no escape from karma. But what karma we will do? We will do karma as a karma yogi, not just any other karma. Any other karma you do just as a karmi will continue to revolve in the cycle of samsara. But as a true mumukshu, a karma yogi attitude is required. Number one is need-based living, and number two is doing what is required for us to be done at that point of time. Realizing our role and responsibility. And discriminating, the skill of deciding what is to be done, how it is to be done, and then not getting affected by the outcome, irrespective of the outcome. You see that samatva happens. So there is the karma yogi has that peace of mind. Why? Because he is neutralizing his raga dveshas. He is consciously neutralizing the raga dveshas. He's making that attempt. Whereas for the wise person, it is a natural state. So till such person, one becomes wise, one gains that self-knowledge, he has to cultivate this state of peace by the state of samatva, by having that prasada buddhi. At this point, it's very natural for us to have this doubt. I think some of us had this doubt, and sometimes it crops up. Then why is all this drama happening in the first place? If we are Brahman already, why is it that is the world created? But that is a given. That we are here, that I'm talking, you're listening, all this is happening actually. That we have an emotional yo-yo is our experience. So rather than question why this creation, that you're already here, you're being given the roadmap as to how to get out of this creation.
Very beautifully said, Brahmaraji. Yeah. Roadmap to get out of the situation. Yeah.
Because we are not here to understand ignorance. The whole world is created out of Maya. We are not here to understand Maya. We are here to become Maya Tita. And for that, we are not here to understand why there is darkness. There is darkness. There is that ignorance. We are here to bring in light.
And also, this world is as though real, just not real. So,
As though real. As though real. The problem is we are caught up in that as though real. We take that as real. Because that viveka is still not established. That is why we get into that emotional yo-yo.
Hari Om. That Brahmanishtha, which we have just as a concept, and that is why even in the beginning Arjuna said that he is that surrender, that sharanagati. In beginning only he said, but they were just as a concept, he said. Just as words that I take refuge in you, O Keshava, but still he had that because he did not have that Brahmanishtha, which over the time he realized, and that's why he was thinking that, and people like us, we all are sailing in the same boat like Arjuna, and I believe very beautifully Swamiji explained with the example of pond and the ocean. I was just comparing, like we are just, I mean, the depth which through which we can gain that sthira buddhi. That is why we are like that lota we call in Gujarati. If there is some good thing happening, then we will be moved to the good emotion. If something bad happens, then we move to the sad emotion. That sthira buddhi is very important, and that comes only with that as Gurudev always says, seva, satsang, and sadhana. And why does it come through that? That is also I realized of late, that because when you are doing seva, or when you are in satsang, or when you are doing your sadhana meditation, your heart is filled with complete love. You have no space for anything, any other thing. You feel that oneness within, and that space gives us that param shanti, that prasanna chitta. And for maintaining, sustaining that param shanti and prashanta manas, I think have we have to go beyond that, what Ashana, Dr. Savitaji so beautifully said, from Putreshna, Vitteshna, from the Lokeshna. We have to go beyond that. And when that happens, that even the other child becomes your own child. Even the other parents become your own parents. And you can be compassionate, and you then I think that will be easier, that Brahmanishtha will be gained.
So, so beautiful. See, when we do seva, we are empty in the mind and the heart is full. So, very beautifully brought out, Belaji.
Jai Gurudev, and also these devatas, are pulling the strings like a puppet here. North it pulls anger, all that. So
The whole journey of human existence, of a mumukshu, for instance, is to just realize the greatness, the unlimited nature that he or she is, the glory of Brahman. Detaching from that limited identity and attaching ourselves to the unlimited Satchit Ananda, the whole journey.
Raji, whatever practices we are doing, no? So sometimes if time doesn't permit, any any day means not regularly, so we have such a guilt, and we get attached to that practices also. So is it uh, binding us again?
It depends on your mindset. If you're doing it out of awareness that this is helping, this is the way for me, this is as part of my discipline, it is different. But if you're doing it saying, if you're getting bound to it, as in, there's a difference, no, taking it as discipline, you're happily doing it, you're enjoying doing it, rather than you're kind of bound to it. The example given was, China had mentioned this example of the person who was Gurudev's Sarathi, and normally for anything, for any, before going on any errand, he would go take blessings from Gurudev's photograph that was there in the secretariat or wherever. So one day he was asked to be Gurudev's Sarathi. So this person was so bound to that practice of going, taking blessings from the photograph. Gurudev was sitting in the car. He says, just give me a minute, I will come back. He went and did that and came. So that is an example of getting bound by our own practices. He has Sakshat, he's sitting there in the car. So he was not doing it out of awareness. It had become a binding habit for him. So I'm not saying we should be let loose with sadhana. No, this is a discipline. It's like nitya karma. We've taken it upon ourselves. Doing sudarshan kriya, meditation, it's like a nitya karma. You do it because with the awareness that it has its cleansing property. That's happening. That you'll continue doing it. But you will not be so bound and start feeling bad. For instance, your day is packed with so many things that you did not have time and space to do it. You will still be happy. You'll still not be flustered so much. Oh, I didn't do. That the pinch will be there, but you will not be, you will continue to be at ease.
Thank you, Brahmaji.
We'll stop here today. We'll continue tomorrow. We'll go through this one more time and go to the next verse. Om Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah. Sarve Santu Niramayaha. Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu. Ma Kaschit Dukkha Bhag Bhavet.
Meditation is accepting this moment, living every moment totally with depth. Let us keep our spine erect and body relaxed and eyes closed. Relax your shoulders. Keep a big smile on your face. You're sitting like the statue of Buddha, very serene and with a serene smile on your face. Relax your body. Let's take a deep breath in and breathe out. Become aware of your chest region, throat and chest region. If you notice some tension in the body, just let it be. Accept those parts of the body where you feel a tension. The other parts are in comfort. Other parts are at peace. Become aware of that also. There are many good things about you and inside of you. Acknowledge them. They will never leave you. And the negative aspect you may see in you is never going to stay with you forever. They are all guests for some time. Let them be. Sit with the total acceptance of yourself the way you are at this very moment. Total acceptance of what is now here will lead us to deeper meditation. Let go of all the effort. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Let go of all your effort and be in this emptiness. And slowly and gradually become aware of body and surroundings. And you may gently open your eyes.